The elusive man wishes to speak to you in the debriefing room, Commander.
Okay, so the elusive man does still want to speak to us. And as you may recall, I was quite flustered last time round because I was not expecting to hear that. As you may recall, we have heard Kelly tell us this once before, and as was the case then, and is still the case now, if we were to try to access our galaxy map...
Change of plans, Commander. Urgent message coming in from the elusive man. Patch him in through the comm room.
We would not be allowed to. Joker would prevent us from doing so and say, hey, Lids/Shepard, you gotta go to the comm room and talk to the elusive man. And that was the precursor to us going on the Horizon mission back then, and yeah, we're gonna start to enter somewhat spoiler territory here a little bit, but as you can probably imagine, that means that the elusive man has something else in mind for us here. And so, again, I'm going to talk a little bit spoilers here, at least to a certain extent, because I would like to explain at least what exactly we were thinking was going to happen and what did end up happening last time round, because what happened to us, I thought was impossible. We kind of sort of broke the game. So I was very surprised, did not see it coming, and it was actually very significant what ended up happening. So, let me scale this back quite a bit, walk you back to the beginning. So, as you may remember, we of course had the Horizon mission in which we went to go see the human colony at Horizon where the collectors were attacking. We got that when the elusive man told us that there was an unexpected collector attack over there. And that was a forced mission, as we were just saying. We had no choice but to go there. And the trigger for that was after we completed our recruitment missions for all of our first set of people. So we completed the recruitment mission for Jack, Garrus, Morden, and technically it doesn't matter if you recruit Zaid or Kasumi because they're DLC characters, but also the Warlord, which we technically haven't finished, but we went through the mission and still have a frozen Krogan down in our basement, but just completing that mission, regardless of whether or not you've interacted with the tank downstairs, is what dictates have you done that enough to trigger Horizon. So as soon as you have recruited all 4 of those people, you will immediately get the message from the elusive man triggering the Horizon mission. As we saw when we went on the Horizon mission, it's not easy. And so there's reason to deliberately try to delay it as long as possible, and that way you can get to a higher level, complete other missions before you recruit everyone, and that's what we did. We deliberately waited as long as possible before we recruited our 4th and final member of the team, or at least of the 4 that matter, and in doing so, we did every other mission, we got a bunch of levels, and in theory, that made Horizon easier. However, there is more reason why that is significant, because as we just saw, the Horizon mission is not the only mission that has a specific behind-the-scenes timer that will trigger after a certain amount of time or criteria has been met. And so let me pull back the curtain to explain what that hidden timer is, to tell you what I was expecting to happen, what I was planning to happen based on what I expected was going to happen, and then what actually happened. So, after you have completed the Horizon mission, what the general consensus is that after that, there will be a hidden timer, air quotes, that starts, in which the game counts how many missions you complete. After you complete a certain number of missions, then the elusive man, as we just saw, will want to speak to us, and we'll get thrown into our next mission that we must do. And so, what I had attempted to do was do a certain number of missions, which, to say explicitly what that number is, it's 5. So, complete 5 missions, and then once you get back to the Normandy, you will not be able to access the galaxy map. The elusive man will call you up, you'll need to go speak to him, and you'll do whatever it is the elusive man is telling you to go do. But you'll need to drop everything in order to do that. You can't leave at all. What you can do is, if you anticipate when you are going to reach that 5 mission marker, you can deliberately do a 5th mission that does not send you back to the Normandy, instead just leaves you on one of the hub worlds, like say the Citadel or Ilium, and deliberately do not go back to the Normandy, because if you did, you would get stuck there. You would be in the situation we currently find ourselves in, where you would need to speak to the elusive man and do whatever it is he wants you to do. However, if you deliberately do not go back to Normandy and immediately go straight into the next mission on that hub world without ever checking back off at the Normandy, that means rather than having 5 missions before the elusive man contacts you and throws you into whatever it is he wants us to do, you can instead sneak in a 6th mission, and in doing so, get additional experience, potentially get another level, get more skill points, get more credits, more upgrades you can research to power yourself up, all those things to help, well, make Shepard and the rest of the team more powerful. Why does that matter? That matters because the mission that the elusive man is about to talk to us about is arguably the most difficult mission in the entire game. So, no joke, I have strategized our entire playthrough around timing when this mission would trigger, and deliberately did absolutely everything possible to delay it as much as possible to make it as easy as possible for us to complete this mission. Otherwise, it would prove extremely difficult. So, when, instead of the elusive man contacting us after 5 missions, he contacted us after 4 missions, which I did not think was possible, that threw me for a loop. And yes, that is exactly what happened. So, as you may recall, after we finished the Horizon mission, we then subsequently did Lair of the Shadowbroker next. That's 1 mission. Then we went after that to recruit the Justicar, 2 missions. Then we recruited Tally, 3 missions. Then we did Samara's loyalty mission, 4 missions. Once we got back, after completing Samara's mission, the elusive man called us up. He called us up after 4 missions. Did not believe that that was mathematically possible. We successfully broke the game. Should not have been able to do that, and somehow we still made it happen. So instead of getting 6 missions before the elusive man contacted us and is about to trigger whatever mission it is he wants to send us on, we instead got it in 4. So the plan not only didn't work, it actually backfired and was worse than it would normally be, at least in that sense. Obviously, we got a bunch of missions in on the early stages before we even triggered Horizon, and so we did get some extra experience there. We are still a pretty high level before completing this, or before starting this mission, so we should still be relatively okay, but I would be lying if I didn't say I was disappointed after having spent a lot of time planning around what the order in which we would do the missions would be, only for the game to throw us an absolute curveball at the last second and mess with that plan. So, that being said, we probably do still want to make some additional upgrades, improvements, and what have you before we speak to the elusive man. But also, in case you were wondering, back when we were on Ilium, you remember all those little missions. You might have been thinking, Liz, you did way more than 4 or 5 missions. What are you talking about? You did that one with Comrade Werner, with Gianna Parsini, with all the survivors from Pharos, and so on and so forth. So, as you may remember, when we were on Ilium then, I was making a comment how, I was basically expressing some hesitancy. I was like, I'm not entirely sure if we want to do all these missions right now. And again, to pull back the curtain, that was because I wasn't 100% sure if those mini missions that take place on Ilium and never have us leave Ilium, if those counted toward the 5 quest marker, or if they did not. Because obviously if they did, we could have potentially done 5 quests almost immediately, and those little quests are worth far less experience than, a recruitment mission or a loyalty mission. So I was going to say, that would have been terribly awful, totally backfired on us if that was the case. However, those missions do not count. The only missions that count toward this counter are the ones that actually finish with the screen at the end that says, mission complete. You have gained this much experience, this many credits, this many of resource X, this upgrade, so on and so forth. The screen that usually shows the elusive man and all those other pieces of information debriefing the mission. So, again, only completed 4 quests before the elusive man contacted us. Did not see that coming. Did not think it was possible. I don't think that general consensus is that that is not possible. I'm not sure if, I mean, his state stated nobody has ever seen this happen before, but it's quite rare, I think. And I suspect the reason was that with Samara's mission, we of course initially completed it and sided with Morinth, and then reloaded a save and then completed it again with Samara, so that way we could unlock both of their loyalty powers. My guess is that somewhere deep in the game it has kept track of, hey, Lids completed this mission twice. You know, basically counted Samara's loyalty mission twice. And that's why it only took 4 missions for the elusive man to contact us. I have to imagine that's why that happened, but I'm not entirely sure. Can't exactly confirm that. Also, the reason why we did not activate the tank investigate the tank further, as I believe I mentioned briefly before, was because in order to get Samara's loyalty mission before the elusive man contacted us, I believe the only way it was possible to do that was by not doing anything with the tank in the basement, and that way we'd be able to do Samara's mission before the elusive man contacted us, get access to Samara's loyalty power, which was something that I was thinking would be a high priority. So that's what the plan was. That is how it totally got ruined. Thrown in our face. But alas, that just means we'll have to roll with the punches here. As I said, we did do a lot of additional quests before we recruited everyone to trigger the Horizon mission, so the domino effect of that is such that, you know, at level... what are we, 20? I think that's still a pretty good place to be at this stage. We'll talk more about, you know, exactly what kind of situations we're going to find ourselves in, but let's just take a last look here at any potential upgrades we can make, because we may very well want to do those before we actually speak to the elusive man. So we have a few assault rifle upgrades here. So let's upgrade our assault rifle damage and our assault rifle accuracy. Your entire squad's assault rifles are now much more accurate. Upgrades assault rifles, battle rifles, machine guns. A smart targeting module calculates and compensates for minute barrel movements, weather, and the environment. Firing on a target in a howling gale feels the same as it does on a calm day on a practice range. Smart targeting does not mean the bullet will automatically find the mark every time the trigger is pulled. It only makes it easier for the marksman to aim. Alright. Don't think that's going to unlock any subsequent upgrades, no. But we'd love to get shotgun extra rounds unlocked, because we are frequently running out of ammo on our shotgun. But, then ship enhancements, we should be fine here. The other thing I was considering doing was potentially changing our advanced power, because one of the reasons why we made a point of rushing to Samara's loyalty mission was so that we could get access to Reeve, which we've talked a little bit about, but in short is an ability that deals extra damage to barriers, which has been one of our tougher types of defenses to deal damage to in the past. So that's one of the reasons why it could be quite good. It also can boost our health, which, combine that with our ability to regenerate our shields when we charge into someone, could make us much tankier, so I like that a lot. Of course, the flashbang grenade has been helpful at times for disabling opponents, although Kasumi has been more effective at doing that when we bring her along with us, because her ability targets directly at the enemy we target, whereas ours actually chucks a grenade that bounces, and we have to account for that, and sometimes that's meant that we just outright missed our target. So we might switch over to Reeve here. We could also potentially consider retraining our powers, because we talked about the whole, do we want to have squad incendiary ammo or not? And the whole, well, maybe we can delay it until later on. Later on was specifically trying to make sure that we had it in time for this mission. So maybe we will keep our powers as they currently stand, and we'll invest the skill points we've accumulated in making sure that we get the squad incendiary ammo here. And then, as for the advanced training, see, cost EZO, we have picked up, I think we determined we might have gotten more EZO than we needed from our planet scanning, so I think it's okay if we are a little overly aggressive here. So, as we can see, this is the reason why we made a point of doing Kasumi's loyalty mission in two different ways. Even though we proceeded with Samara's loyalty mission. Did I say Kasumi? Because by siding with Morinth the first time, even though we overrode that save, or, eventually progressed with our save in which we helped Samara, we do have access to both Morinth's loyalty ability, Dominate, brainwash an organic enemy, forcing them to fight his allies. Basically, the human, or rather the organic version of Tally's AI hacking ability that we saw in Mass Effect 1. And then Reeve is the one that we got from Samara, and this is the one that I was saying I was eyeing as a pretty solid target for Shepard. Damages targets' nervous or synthetic systems to prevent healing, which, against Krogan and Fortra could be helpful, but restores health and gives a temporary health bonus, that's maximum health increases temporarily, when the power is used against organics. Sounds pretty sweet defensively, and as we were saying, since it does double damage to armor and barriers, those are two of the types of defenses we've struggled against the most, because our shotgun does very well against shields, and then of course, once we get rid of defenses, then we can use biotics and all other powers, and things become much easier. So, Reeve is really tempting. Okay, nice. So, that means that we now have access to a new ability, Reeve. We will continue to have the 1 point that we invested in earlier in Flashbang Grenade, but we will probably look to spend more points on this in just a minute once we actually progress with this next mission. But we've been doing a lot of talking here. Just want to see, I believe we talked to everyone at the end of our previous mission, unless I got so distracted by how nope, I did not mean to do that. Unless I got so distracted by how the elusive man wanted to speak to us that I completely disregarded that. So maybe let's just take a quick check, chatting with Joker. I imagine we made a point of speaking with Samara, but just in case, maybe double check, because I don't recall.
I'm glad things worked out, Commander. I was worried you'd dump Samara for some crazy soul sucker with a death fetish, all lithe and sexy, and never mind.
Right, I do remember this happening. I think I was a little distracted at the time, but yeah. Joker basically specifically mentions all the things that would be true about Morinth. And
That's it for now.
He doesn't really
I'll see you,
know.
Commander.
I don't think he has any reason to suspect that that would have been a possibility. Although, I suppose, he might even say that. I imagine he does say that. Even if you do, in fact, choose Morinth, in which case, it's true. It's not just ironic, it's actually true in that case.
The elusive man wishes to
Alright, so I know the elusive man wants to speak to us, but before we do that, I just want to verify, I think we did speak with Samara, but just in case. Let's get her 2 cents after having completed her mission. I think we did, and yes, of course, as I was saying, we did her loyalty mission, in which we technically did temporarily kind of sort of kill her, but then, it's okay, we rewound time, and then we completed it and sided with her, and that's the one that matters, the one we're going with, okay?
Shepard,
How are you?
perhaps we could speak later. I wish to meditate.
Oh, okay.
I
I
should
think
go.
that is
Of course.
probably indication that we did in fact speak to her before. I imagine we did. So, just see if there's any last minute preparations we want to make for this mission that, as I think I said, is probably going to be the most difficult mission in the game, or at least has the potential to be the most difficult mission in the game, because
The elusive man wishes to speak to you in the
all of
debriefing
those
room.
triggers, and they do have a bit of a domino effect. How long is it before you activate the Horizon mission, and then by extension, the longer it is before you activate Horizon, the longer before the elusive man speaks to you here, that dictates how much time you have to gain experience, level up, and purchase improved equipment before this mission starts. So that is a huge difference maker, potentially at least, between this mission being unbelievably difficult and being, we might hope, at least a little more feasible. And, on lower difficulties, maybe that's not a huge deal. But since we're pushing ourselves a bit, going on hardcore, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make a point of trying to postpone this mission as long as possible to give us the best chance of success on this mission. So let's save before we do actually open up the comm room. But, alright. Here goes nothing. Let's do it.
Patching the elusive man through, Commander.
Shepard, we caught a break. I intercepted a distress call from a Turian patrol. They stumbled onto a collector ship beyond the Corliss system. The Turians were wiped out, but not before they crippled the collector vessel. I need you to board that ship and get some hard data on the collectors. Find us a way to get to their homeworld.
Oh! Board a collector ship, you say? That sounds pretty intense. Yeah, that sounds also pretty impressive that the Turians were actually able to disable it. I mean, we saw what happened when the Normandy, or the first Normandy, encountered one of those collector ships.
Hard to imagine how a Turian patrol could take out a collector ship.
Reports indicate the hull's intact, but all systems seem to be offline. They could be making repairs as we speak. I'm not saying it won't be dangerous, but we can't let an opportunity like this slip by.
Okay. Maybe not completely disabled, but at least at the moment it is, in some way, shape, or form underpowered. So, I mean, are the Turians investigating this thing then? You'd have to imagine they would be.
If they had a patrol out there, why aren't the Turians sending a recon team in?
They will, eventually. But I intercepted the transmissions. In the meantime, we're feeding them false reports. You're close enough that you can be in and out before the Turians learn the truth.
Phew, okay. So we just gotta beat the Turians to the source of the data? So, I mean, yeah, how the heck did you hear about all this then? I mean, you say you intercepted it from the Turians?
Are you sure this information is good?
Information is my weapon, Shepard. It's good.
Alright, I mean, I guess we'll check it out.
Send me the coordinates and I'll take care of it.
Already sent. Once you're aboard the ship, establish an uplink with Edie. She'll mine their data for information regarding the Omega-4 relay. Good luck, Shepard.
Coordinates punched in. Let's go find us a collector ship.
Alright, so, this is the aforementioned mission. We will get thrown in here. And, well, I mean, as you can probably imagine, seeing as how this is a collector ship, that means we'll be looking to take a team that is, you know, probably particularly effective against collectors. So, what does that mean? That means collectors are generally very high on barriers, so that means we want to have skills that do extra damage against barriers. Historically, that has meant Miranda with her warp ability, and she is certainly a strong choice here, but one of the key reasons why we wanted to get Samara and try to get her loyalty mission done early was so that we could unlock Reeve. At the moment, it's grayed out just because we haven't invested anything in it, but after her becoming loyal, it is now possible for us to invest more points in that. So, that means that we'll probably take Samara since Reeve does deal extra damage against barriers. So she's, I think, in some ways, almost an alternative to Miranda. You know, Warp versus Reeve, both being just extra damage abilities there. I think Samara may be a little bit better, because Throw and Pull give some crowd control abilities that Miranda doesn't really have. She just has very versatile types of damage. I mean, Slam, if we were to have gotten it for her loyalty mission, is sort of crowd control. But, so I think we're going to go with Samara as one of our team members. And then the other person that we're going to add, I mean, Tally, of course, we also just recently added to our team. Her combat drone actually does have some very interesting use cases, and you could probably find some creative ways to make it work here. But, I mean, we, of course, did just get rid of Flashbang Grenade as our bonus power, and it is so unbelievably good against the collectors. As we saw on Horizon, whenever we encountered the possessed collectors, or Harbinger, then we saw that, you know, they'd get possessed, they'd get all glowy orange charge after us, and that enemy has only special biotic powers, cannot even fire a weapon. So that means that if we disable those biotic powers with Flashbang Grenade, quite literally cannot do anything. Will just stand there staring at us for about 30 seconds, which is amazing. So, for that reason, I think Kasumi is basically an auto-include here. So, I think Kasumi plus either Miranda or Samara, as I was saying, we've used a lot of Miranda, and I also think you can make a case for Samara just being a better character in some cases on this mission than Miranda is. So we'll go Kasumi plus Samara. And, okay. So now when it comes to the abilities here, we have a bunch of squad points. Of course, we would have had a few more if we had successfully completed 6 missions in between Horizon and this collector base, or mission, rather than just the 4 that we ended up getting. But although that is a steep price to pay, you know, we missed out on a few squad points there, we did get the chance to unlock Reeve. And so this is, of course, going to be a strong ability against those collectors. So damages target's nervous system or synthetic systems to prevent healing. Probably not so relevant against the collectors specifically, because I don't really think they heal. But restores health and gives a temporary health bonus when the power is used against organics. They are organic, so it will restore our health and increase our maximum health. So that's definitely useful. I do like that a lot. And if we continue to upgrade it, well, it also does double damage against armor and barriers. And again, armor and barriers are the things we've struggled with the most, and as we were saying, collectors have a lot of barriers, so it does work well for us in that case. As we level it up, it increases the duration of Reeve. Reeve normally is a damage over time skill, 40 points of damage per second over 6 seconds. That is actually quite a bit. If we look at, I mean, charge is kind of hard to quantify the damage because it's technically just listed as force, which basically is how hard we're hitting them, and the damage technically depends on, are we smashing them into some kind of wall or obstacle, and that will indirectly determine how much damage we deal. But, let's see, do we have anything like, I think all of our abilities are in force, so it's hard to compare for us, but, you know, like, take Shadow Strike, which is the highest damage ability in the game, 300 points, which is absurd, and then, you know, we leveled it all the way up to get 550 points, which is basically capable of one-shotting any small enemies and dealing pretty significant damage to mid-tier enemies, and even somewhat decent damage to the big guys. So 550 for that. Then compare that to Shepard with Reeve at 40 points of damage over 6 seconds, so 240 damage total. And then, you know, as you level it up, it increases the duration, although the damage per second doesn't change. So, oh, I'm looking at the recharge time for 6 seconds. No, it's 3 seconds. So, 120 damage. So, not, you know, certainly not competing with Shadow Strike. As I was saying, that is just absolutely insane damage on that. But, you know, as we start getting higher, we're looking at total of 160 damage. And actually, the gimmicky thing about Reeve is that if you attack with Reeve against health, then it'll deal this slow damage over time. But if you attack against some kind of protection, like barriers, like armor, then it will actually apply all of that damage immediately. So instead of being 40 damage every second for 4 seconds, it would just be 160 damage immediately. And if it is against barriers, then you're doubling that amount. So, you know, 320 damage immediately. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. So, and the amount of damage that we deal dictates how much increased maximum health we will get temporarily and how much health we will regenerate over time as well. So, for all those reasons, do like Reeve a lot. Question would be, you know, to what extent do we upgrade Reeve versus the weakness of our current squad is that no one has an ammo power, and as I was saying, we were planning our entire build, our entire campaign around this one mission. So, that is why we got close to the incendiary ammo, but have not yet pulled the trigger on it, because we just wanted to make sure that it was possible for us to do it in anticipation of this mission. But we, now that we're here, actually likely want to pull the trigger now. So let's see, if we do, then that means that we'll have what, 4 points remaining, which is enough to put one additional point in or one additional level into Reeve, and that's it. Unfortunately, we'd be 1 point short of getting up to Reeve 3, and that stinks, because of course, we know if we had successfully completed 1 or 2 extra missions, we would have had enough to make that happen. But, alas, it was not meant to be. So do we prioritize the squad incendiary ammo, or do we prioritize getting Reeve an extra level or 2? Let's see. We would still, we'd be able to get 2 points in Reeve, and then we could say upgrade Pull, right? That'd be 5, that'd be 8. And, you know, if we did not go the ammo route, so I think we do go the incendiary ammo, because getting that for the entire party is a pretty big deal. We may even choose to reset this after this mission, but let's do it, and we will take the squad ammo to give it on everyone else. And again, that's why we wanted this, because this is a tough mission. We want to be having everyone firing on all cylinders, and we don't have any ammo effects for anyone else unless we get something from Shepard, so that looks good there. Let's invest a little bit more in Reeve. Again, like, the 1 upgrade is not a huge deal, just 0.5 additional seconds, but again, it does mean higher immediate damage if we're going against enemies that have barriers, so that looks good there. Then no points to do anything else. For Samara and Kasumi, we just have 4 points, means we could fully upgrade Overload, although it's extra damage against shields. We're not going to see too many shields on the collectors, I don't think. So we probably would prefer to go for her with something like her passive, because this increases her health, increases her weapon damage, and also increases her power recharge time, which means more frequent flashbang grenades. Let's see, does the cooldown time improve as we level this up? No. So I think we're probably still keeping this on its current level, just level 1, and we'll do this. That way we will be able to do it faster, and we'll get a little bit more weapon damage and health as well. Okay, so then Samara. Samara is a little tricky, because, well, all of her abilities are good. So, especially on this mission in particular. As we were saying, Reeve, very good against collectors specifically. We were not able to go all the way up to Reeve 10, so I am kind of tempted to do that with Samara. If we do that, let's see, it'll cost us, 9 points. We'd have 4 remaining. That means we could go to Pull 2. That's, I believe, the same level that we have our pull on, right? And that's, a 7-second pull. She's gonna have a slower cooldown time than we have, but that's still at least half decent crowd control, because we have the flashbang grenade to disable Harbinger. That's gonna be the express purpose for that. But for other smaller enemies, pull is gonna be pretty important. Would love if we could have someone all the way up to pull 4 for pull field to disable numerous enemies simultaneously, but I think we're going to prioritize Reeve, and just because we have pull on 2 separate people, hopefully that'll be sufficient. So let's go. Let's see. Do we want to? I think we want to go. Let's go all Reeve. So again, the damage is not a huge improvement with these levels, but getting up to rank 4 is big, because we can either do heavy Reeve, increasing Reeve's strength, duration, and damage, or area Reeve to increase the Reeve impact radius to affect multiple targets. So initially, it does not have any radius. It just targets one specific enemy and only hits that one enemy. But if we hit this all the way up to rank 4, area Reeve gives us a 3-meter radius, which is not humongous, but that should be enough for us to hit at least 2, possibly even 3 or 4 enemies in one go. So that would be ideal. So let's go for that. That starts to become more of a crowd control ability in that case. I do also think that Reeve, at least on enemies that do not have any layers of protection, do get stunned temporarily. Not a huge stun, but a small stagger is maybe a better way of phrasing it. So that's also potentially a factor. So then we could upgrade Throw, but I think we probably would prefer to get Pull a little bit higher first. In fact, we might even just keep Throw on rank 2. This is, of course, another source of crowd control, and Samara does have the nifty pull someone into the air and then throw them, which, when they are lifted in the air, they get thrown an extra distance, so that is pretty nice for additional crowd control. And although, let's see, her pull has a 7-second duration, 9-second cooldown, means that she herself is not able to complete that combo. She does have 18% power recharge time, but I still think that the enemy is not going to be in the air anymore by the time her cooldown expires. So that means more likely we would pull, and then she would throw the enemies that we pull. So, again, all the more reason for us to have 2 people that can pull. So, we do unfortunately have a lot of people that have 1 or 2 squad points remaining. Again, if we had successfully snuck in another mission or 2, then we might have been able to min-max it just a little bit more, but we're hoping that with a squad like this, we can still get the job done. Then in terms of our gear. So, get the plasma shotgun, definitely. Also, ooh, Tempest, no. This is the one that we picked up on, what was it? The loyalty mission, or not loyalty, the recruitment mission for Tally. And although it is certainly better than the Shuriken, I think we're going to want to have some long-range capabilities from the Locust, which is definitely its calling card compared to the other SMGs. Card effects, definitely. Arc projector, maybe, but I think we probably want to go with the Avalanche. I think it is generally the best in terms of pure crowd control, and that is perhaps what we're going to want to have here. So I think we go that route. Let's take this. Then for Samara, let's see. I think we stick with the Locust. And so this is actually, although we technically took Samara on her loyalty mission, kind of, sort of, there was no combat in that mission. So this is our first time actually having her in a mission in which she will be fighting alongside us. So Locust, yes, I think makes sense. Matic or Vindicator, either one should be fine. We also did pick up the Geth Pulse Rifle from Tally's recruitment mission as well. This Geth weapon fires a rapid stream of high-energy phasic slugs, comparable to a Vindicator battle rifle, very effective against shields and biotic barriers, moderately effective against armor. Geth Pulse Rifles are rarely retrieved from battlefield. When they are, the guns are generally functional and comparable to a stock assault rifle. Over time, however, they prove unreliable and difficult to repair. Attempts to replicate this weapon have failed, but the technology recovered from Haystrom, where we got it, could enable several of these weapons to be built for your squad. 2 anomalies differentiate these Geth weapons from other stock assault rifles. First, the Mass Effect field generation technology follows a sine curve. It has a variable rate of fire. Second, its slugs are lighter than standard Avenger slugs, but they're encased in a phasic envelope. Overall, this weapon should be more effective against shields and barriers than a battle rifle, but will likely have less armor penetration capability. So, don't really think we're going to be using this much, if at all. It's really just a question of Matic versus Vindicator, and I think we've said before that it's debatable as to which one is better for your teammates, but they're both solid. And as we were saying before, Samara, despite being technically an adept, a pure biotic user, the lines, the very defined lines in the sand that we saw in Mass Effect 1, where if you're an adept, you can only use a pistol. Not the case in Mass Effect 2. She can use assault rifles, which means she is much more well-rounded than, say, Liara was, at least in Mass Effect 1, when it comes to having much more weapon capabilities than Liara did. Then Kasumi, still looks good. Tempest, Carnifex, let's do it. Alright, that will be it. Here goes nothing. What is likely the hardest mission in the game?
We have a visual on the collector ship, Commander.
Very low emissions. Passive infrared temperatures suggest most systems are offline. Thrusters are cold.
That thing is massive. How the hell did the Turians take it out?
That's what I was asking. Yeah. Now, seeing the Normandy next to it definitely makes it look huge.
I detect no Mass Effect field distortions. It appears the drive core is offline.
Rendezvous in 30 seconds, Commander. Good luck.
Oh, its ship is just not really active right now? Anybody home? Hopefully not.
never seen a ship like this before. Like a giant insect hive.
Penetrating scans have detected an access node to uplink with collector databanks. Marking location to your hardsuit computer.
Okay. Okay. So here we are, in this creepy insect hive-like place. It definitely doesn't make very, very unsettling sounds. So, you know, we'll just keep our eyes and ears peeled.
Shepard, I've compared the ship's EM signature to known collector profiles. It is the vessel you encountered on Horizon.
Oh!
Maybe the defense towers softened it for the Turians.
Perhaps the missing colonists are aboard. If they're still alive.
So this is the ship, and by extension, probably, at least at one point, was the home of those collectors that we encountered and attacked on Horizon. That's freaky. That's very freaky. Alright. Carrying on. The pod over here.
The collectors used these on Horizon. However, these are empty.
Can't imagine it. Trapped in these pods, completely controlled by the collectors. My God.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, also, before we carry on much further, we of course made the points of activating squad incendiary ammo, or picking up squad incendiary ammo. So before we forget, let's do that here. Then let's have everyone switch weapons, ourselves included. Throw it on those as well, because again, although we like our squad here quite a bit, that is perhaps their biggest weakness, is that they do not have any ammo effects between the two of them, Samara and Kasumi, so we are the ones supplying that here. Then, in terms of what weapons we'd like them to be carrying, I guess we'll go Vindicator and Tempest? Oh, wait, Tempest? What? I meant to put you on the Locust. Okay, maybe we'll switch you back if we get the chance later. Perhaps we shall. But, I think it's not quite as big a deal on our squad mates as it is on us, but...
What happened here?
Yeah, we could kind of see him from across the way, but this doesn't look good. And in fact, I mean, that looks disturbingly like Ashley's gear from Mass Effect 1. Just, you know, missing one or two body parts.
Why would the collectors just leave a pile of bodies lying around?
Perhaps they were used for testing. If they were a control group, they would have been discarded at the end of the experiment.
I mean, whatever they were doing to them doesn't look like it was good.
There are worse things than death, like being a test subject for twisted aliens.
It is important to seek whatever solace we can find in the face of tragedy.
I know you're right, but it doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Still looks rather creepy. Ooh. That looks like more people. More dead people. Okay, let's save, because I don't think we've done that yet here. Obviously, we unfortunately don't have access to a map, but that'd be very nice. In fact, why don't we read our journal entry here to see what our technical description for this here is. Collector vessel has been found floating adrift, evidently damaged by a Turian patrol. This is a rare chance to examine collector technology. Investigate the collector ship, explore the collector ship, and look for useful information. Okay, so it's pretty open-ended. We're just looking to find any and everything we can find that might give us an advantage against the collectors. And of course, this is far and away the closest we've ever been to those collectors. So let's see, did we actually save? We said we were going to, then we didn't, but now we have. So we can salvage this technology, which is worth a fair bit. We have a med kit. Let's nab that. We don't need it, so we get the credits. Then, before you approach this control terminal, save the game. Obviously, we just did that, so we should be fine here. But this is one of the reasons why, although I was talking about how I was deliberately delaying this mission as long as possible, this control terminal can perhaps give you reason to deliberately rush this mission. You'll see why in just a second. Anything else in here? Looks like that's it. I mean, there's power cells over there, but let's check it out.
That's a collector. Were they experimenting on one of their own?
Edie, I'm uploading the data from this terminal. See if you can figure out what they were up to.
Data received. Analyzing. The collectors were running baseline genetic comparisons between their species and humanity.
Why?
Are they looking for similarities?
I have no hypothesis on their motivations. All I have are the preliminary results. They reveal something remarkable. A quad-strand genetic structure identical to traces collected from ancient ruins. Only one race is known to have this structure, the Protheans.
Wait. What? The collectors are Protheans? Based on the genetic information you just collected? Or at least observed from what they have here?
My god. The Protheans didn't vanish. They're just working for the Reapers now.
These are no longer Prothean, Shepard. Their genes show distinct signs of extensive genetic rewrite. The Reapers have repurposed them to suit their needs.
Oh my goodness. The Protheans, of course, the ancient species that was the foundation of so many technological breakthroughs, or at least their technology was the foundation for so many other technological breakthroughs for everyone else in the galaxy right now, humans included, that everyone thought was extinct 50,000 years ago. You're telling me they actually exist? They're alive? Except they've been captured by the Reapers and genetically modified to suit the Reapers' purposes? Are you sure about that?
You'd think somebody would have picked up on this.
No one has had an opportunity to study a collector genetic code in this detail. I've already matched 2,000 alleles to recorded fragments. This collector likely descends from a Prothean colony in the Styx Theta cluster. But there are signs of extreme alteration. 3 fewer chromosomes. Reduced heterochromatin structure. Elimination of superfluous junk sequences.
I mean, that's pretty crazy. If they've significantly genetically modified Protheans, getting rid of their junk genetic information and getting rid of chromosomes altogether. I mean, just imagine, we were talking earlier about those dead people we saw and how they were likely subjects of some kind of Prothean experiments, or rather, collector experiments, but we now know Prothean experiments as well. And, yeah, if that's the kind of thing they were subject to, then that is terrible beyond belief.
The Reapers didn't wipe out the Protheans. They turned them into monsters and enslaved them. Still, they're working for the Reapers now, and we have to stop them.
I sure don't want to be turned into that.
Let's find what we need before the collectors come to salvage this vessel. Move out.